Welcome back to Circle Club Entertainment for yet another Diecast review here on the channel. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Austin Dillon and his 2023 Bass Pro Shops Patriotic number 3 Chevrolet Camaro ZL1 for Richard Childress Racing. This is yet another NASCAR Authentics exclusive. Of course, this is 2024 Wave 1, but we're still finishing the 2023 season of Diecast. So here it is, guys. This car was initially canceled in the Gold Series and was revived by the NASCAR Authentics line. That's the story for a lot of these diecasts that we're going to be reviewing here on this channel during recent times. We're going to be focusing more on these exclusive NASCAR Authentics cars because these are the ones that people really want to see. Of course, another Coca-Cola 600 paint scheme. That's what most of this wave has been for the 2024 Wave 1. Just a bunch of the 2023 Patriotic paint schemes. Here's the back. Here's the wave of all the cars. And we have reviewed almost all of these cars. This 3 car, I believe, is the last one in line for this wave of diecast. But fear not, because we have plenty of Xfinity and trucks to review as well that are also exclusive. But for the time being, let's get this Austin Dillon number 3 Bass Pro Shops Patriotic diecast out of the box and ready to be reviewed. Alrighty folks, here it is, brand new out of the box, looking pretty sharp and very cool. Of course, Richard Childress Racing always has pretty good patriotic paint schemes and throwbacks. They've been pretty lacking on the throwbacks recently. We are going to get one of the throwbacks for the 2024 season. But as for patriotic paint schemes, Richard Childress Racing has not missed a beat, especially with this number 3 car, and man, it looks really good. And it is the gloss finish for this diecast, which is pretty interesting. I really like how they've been doing these cars as of recently. It's very similar, but slightly different than a lot of his other number 3 patriotic cars. But this time there's more blue on it than there is the orange. The past ones had a bit more orange, but a very similar kind of blue. That's why I mentioned how similar they are. Except just a bit less orange, as you can see. Just a few little bit of these stripes, but not as much of it as in years past. The stars are more subtle than they used to be. It's just kind of more engraved in the pattern of the paint scheme, as you can see. But we'll get into more details as we go along with this diecast review. So, over to the front of this diecast, you have number 3, RCR, Chevrolet Camaro ZL1. Pretty well applied in terms of decals. USO, and then you have Johnny Morris, Bass Pro Shops Club with the hood vents on the hood. Of course, no windshield banner, but you do have some paint just kind of inside of the windshield there, which is just amazing. You have Sunoco. You're going to have Goodyear and white on the front fenders, but on the wheels themselves, they are yellow and have the Honor and Remember sticker on the Goodyear wheels with the dark gray rims. You have the 75th anniversary logo for NASCAR. You have a very cut off, as you can see, a very cut off NASCAR Salutes logo, because remember, NASCAR Salutes Coca-Cola 600 is one of those races. You have number 3, and this camera is not a fan of this. It looks very blurry. You have number 3, you have Johnny Morris Bass Pro Shops, and is that a paint chip? Yep, that looks like a paint chip right there on the flag, so that's pretty cool. You have Austin Dillon, AD with the American flag. See what else you have? Chevrolet, Easy Go, Lucas Oil, Sherwin-Williams, and what's that? Cometic? Really hard to read. You have, let's see, what does that say? Brestree, Get Bioethanol. You have Dow, Bet MGM, and what does that say? Wow, I really can't read that. It says, it's just too small for me to read. You have Military Save 10% right there. You have Huck and a pretty, oh my god, it's a pretty awful paint chip on the rear quarter panel. Unfortunately, I did not notice that because, as you guys know, in the box, it's facing this way. So there's no way I was going to be able to tell there was a paint chip there. It pisses me off to know that it's on there. Oh well. I guess you could say it's already been in the wall. He got loose and he kind of tapped the wall at Charlotte, which does happen, but come on, man. You have Chevrolet, Okuma, Cenex. Cenex has a really nice looking new paint scheme for 2024. You have number 3, Bass Pro Shops Tracker Off-Road Camaro ZL1, just the usual Chevy Camaro stuff in the back. You have Tracker Off-Road and BassPro.com on the roof of the diecast. And I just noticed there is another paint chip right by the little stars right there, the gradient faded stars. There's a paint chip right there, so that just makes that look even better. Obviously, that's sarcasm. As you can see, why did I just freeze there? Time for the paint scheme review. There you go, that's what I was trying to spit out. You can tell that's been a while since the last diecast review. So you can tell they painted it in a very... It is meant to be like a dark blue color, but it could come across to some people's eyes and even the camera. It could look a bit more purplish, like light purple, lightish, darkish. It's like a really weird type of purple look to it, but it is meant to be like a darker shade of blue because, you know, America, red, white, and blue. But of course, you could tell they brightened up the red, made it a bit orange because Bass Pro Shops runs it that way. And a freaking Dodge Challenger is going by. Let's see. The paint scheme itself. Let's look at the numbers first. That's what I usually start with, right? You have the dark blue outline, a bright orange outline, and a white number fill-in, and that is the type of number 3 that goes all across this car. And then you're going to have the front of this car, which what's really cool is that they actually marked the aero bits on this car. The front splitter has the 2 white little stripes, so the teams know where to adjust the splitter and how low it is. And of course, you have the pit indicator, so they know where to lift them up on pit road. So they did add some details to these, which is really worth it if you ask me. Makes it look much more authentic and much more like a real stock car, NASCAR race car. Front of this thing, you're going to have the bright orange. It's going to wrap around most of the front OEM details right there. And it's going to stop barely a little bit so you can see the starting of the gradient with the stars. And it's just kind of spike up here right by the Goodyear logos, as you can see. And it's going to stop right over the number 3. Gets thinner and thinner, which makes it look like just the front stripe. It has like 2 little spikes sticking out, which just looks sick. That looks awesome. I really like the look of that. Behind all the sponsorship decals, you're going to have the gradient fade. So it looks like it's going to go from like a darker blue around the front corners here and just kind of fade to be a bit brighter. And when you look at the hood, you can tell the nose is a little bit brighter now, and it's going to fade to an even lighter shade. It goes from like being like dark to like light as you look at it across when you go across the sides of this thing. But I'll zoom in a little bit more so you guys can tell what I'm talking about here. And it even has a bit of the camo to it as well. The top has some of that camo. The side and the hips of this car are covered in the camo. And of course, the gradient star pattern kind of fades right by the 3. Then you can see some more of the stars over the side roof pillars, which also have like a bright to dark gradient to them. It goes to dark a little bit more back here. It's brighter when you look at it more towards the front of it. And then you're going to have the normal paint scheme to it. You're going to have so before that, you have the black side markers right here. And then you're going to have the bright orange stripe just kind of frame these little contingency sponsors pretty nicely. It swoops down underneath the number 3. And then getting a closer look at that camo, which looks fantastic. You got the little bioethanol logo right there, which is usually on all these cars. The modern diecast, you're going to have a little bit of the orange stripe over here as well. Right by the rear quarter window. Because when you put the hips on the next gen car, it kind of has like a little outline of where you would put that at. As you can see, the bright orange thin line right there with some of that dark blue. The top obviously only has the camo, just the 2 black roof rails, the black spoiler, the black splitter with the little white bits, and then the back of it, you're going to have the dark blue. All of it's going to be dark blue back here. And of course the deck lid has the camo. But I'm going to get a closer look at this, because this is a car that does have a lot of detail to cover. Especially when you're talking about gradient fades, and then you have different textures. There's 2 main textures to this paint scheme. The camo and the stars. As you can see, all across this car. It really looks fantastic. I love these paint schemes that have a lot of detail. So this is definitely one that really does look good, and it's really just awesome to have another Patriotic number 3, or just another 3 car in general. So many of these things get DMP'd, and Austin Dillon runs a ton of different number 3 paint schemes, and they just all don't get made, which I don't know why. I'm gonna do a 360 view as I'm talking about this car and the other Austin Dillon paint schemes. It's just, like I said, I really like Patriotic diecast, and I think this one is no exception to the good ones. Just the paint scheme of it just looks fantastic. The camo, the gradient stars. Just Lionel has gotten better with making their gradient fades look better on the diecast. A few years ago, like in 2019, 2018, it used to not really look that good. It just used to have like the little spots. You could tell like where the fade was. It just didn't look good, but the gradient fades look so much better nowadays, as you can see as I'm looking at the sides of this thing. Here's the back of it. Here's the deck lid. Here's the top profile of this car, the hood, the roof, and the deck lid. Just an amazing car. I love the textured approach they took to this. It's not just like a simple paint scheme where it just has, oh, you know, stars, stripes, and like the 8-bit camo. Boom, call it a day. They gave it, and one of the diecast fell. They gave it more detail, which is just fantastic. Just fantastic to see how much these paint schemes have evolved and how much better Lionel has gotten with wrapping it. Of course, you still have paint chips, a crooked decal here and there, but in terms of just like the designers who make these things, man, they're really getting better. I wonder how next year, every year, like, this is another one of those paint schemes that you're like, man, I wonder what next year's version of this car is going to look like. It's just one of those paint schemes you're kind of curious to see how it looks every year. And this is how it came out for 2023. So that, my friends, has been Austin Dillon and his 2023 Patriotic 164. A very, very cool diecast. I really hope you guys are able to find this. This one might get rare, because honestly, all of these could get rare, because if you look at especially when you look at the exclusives, like that's an exclusive, that's an exclusive, that's an exclusive, just a bunch of exclusives back here. These are going to be the ones that are rare to find. The ones you can get in the Gold Series, like the Christopher Bell and the Kozlowski, those might be easier to find, but the ones like this, you got to get them while they're on the shelves, because they will disappear. And of course, Austin Dillon, the fact that he doesn't really get many cars made, that just adds value to this one quite a bit. So, I hope you enjoyed this diecast review. Comment, like, and subscribe, and we will see you guys in the next diecast review here on Circle Club Entertainment. And always remember to make sure you know what you're doing when you're putting decals on your diecasts.